have enough members to start. Okay. So maybe a little bit. Okay. So you're here. Well, you, Kathleen will be here, and you will be there.
Okay.
But because she's out sick, I don't know if you heard.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you get to sit next to the superintendent.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we went with alphabetical to mix in the new members with the returning members, and also make it a little easier for Joanne to
I
do
get
roll
a
call.
fresh perspective on the world.
So it looks like we start. Maybe we'll wait a minute.
Yeah, with the scraping of the cars.
Yeah,
Oh.
I didn't even have a scraper, so I was just like,
Oh,
You
really?
have a new buddy in.
I do. I moved up in the world.
Hello.
So we do have 5 for public comment. I think I'll still do it before the poetry. I was thinking of moving it more like, 10 or more, but it's 5. That seems fine, right?
I think that sounds fine. Yep.
Stick to our regular.
Yep.
Thank you all very much.
You must have signed up for something at some point.
What did you get? My husband got that. I didn't know.
My wife got it. I didn't get it, but I'm thinking
I had a
I ran into her at the whale in front of
in the car while I was driving.
Your husband's clearly the only I did not. They do shows.
I get stuff from
About the interactive playground.
like Act Blue. I get stuff.
Yeah. I have.
People running for Senate and like filming. I'm like, I don't.
Really?
Right. Interactive playground. Thank you.
Put a couple notes in.
Yeah, Melissa Doogie.
When they told us on
Yeah.
January 8th is when
Well,
they
somehow every one of those I get always say
Perfect.
hi Faith and then blah blah blah. So like somehow they think
Yeah.
Is it your middle name or something?
No, I don't know. So like somehow my number is
And the Rotary
connected to
also
someone named
donated
Faith, and they always say Faith. And there's a couple of times that I've emailed back like wrong number, texted back, but like it's
Oh,
nothing
like it's
happened.
someone's old phone number. You got it at one point.
I mean, I've had this number for 10 years, but for some reason, this has been almost 10 years of it's only those spam texts that they always say hi Faith,
them around or
their message.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's good to have an alias to hide on.
Yeah, right. Great. Wow. Like Faith thinks this.
Yeah, Faith says, if I ever knew Faith.
Thank you.
Madam Vice Chair prepared us clip notes for the motion. I didn't do this. Sarah.
Oh, just sample motions.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Sarah prepared little clip notes.
You see, this is.
Oh,
are you helping the
Joanne?
polling desk if you indicate whether you're
Quick question. I know we're
Oh yeah.
we
Put
need to
no.
get started.
Or put yes.
This doesn't have my notes
Or put
at the top.
swear at them.
You know why?
I know.
Is that something that you could grab for me somewhere?
So no one's gonna have internet because the thing is not up.
Okay.
Let me see if I can. Oh, no, I don't have a computer.
Okay.
Is it like the on a previous agenda? Maybe if you look on that agenda in your mail.
But it's not on the agenda. It's on the minutes. I mean, it's on the sign-up sheet.
Well, I guess
Yeah.
So online.
you want to add this?
Not really.
Did you take it out of the policy, Sarah, or is it crafted?
It was in that policy, and it was in the minutes, and the minutes has also, and I just can't remember what they did it on.
Oh, I found it. I found it in the
Let's
note.
get parallel with
Yes.
the table when I take notes.
Yeah, this is just, I just had it in here, what we use. Okay.
We waiting on the map?
He said he was going to be a little late, so I think we'll just start. He did text me that he could be a little late. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm calling the school committee business meeting to order for January 16th. It's 6:35, so we're going to get going. Ms. Yell, if you could read the roll, please.
Mayor Reardon, it's going to be late. Sarah Hall,
Here.
Andrew Bolger,
Here?
Brian Callahan.
Here.
Brianna Higgins.
Here.
Kathleen Shaw. Juliet Walker.
Present. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we begin public comment, I'm going to read a few reminders, and then we'll get started. I'll just go down the list as people signed up. Please keep to topics within the school committee's scope of authority. We encourage civility. Be mindful of the fact that this is a public meeting, which is being live streamed and recorded for all ages in our community. Please be aware that this is not an opportunity for discussion, and you will not receive a response at this time. You will have 2 minutes for your comment. Longer comments can be sent to the school committee email. So first up, we have Anya Quimby. And if you wouldn't mind just coming right up to the mic here, you can start with your name and address for the record, and then you'll have your 2 minutes.
Hello, my name is Anya Quimby, and I live on Francis Drive in Newburyport. Shall I begin?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm a parent of 3 special education students at the Brez, and over the last 6 years, I've watched with increasing concern that the special education department appears to be struggling, especially there. The district should probably provide parents with a full evaluation of what is the source of the struggle for staffing and for all the changes that might be made that could better support all parties involved, both staff and parents and students. The rate of staff departure does suggest that maybe staff do not feel they can effectively do their job and with confidence as things stand currently. The purpose of schooling, after all, is to help all students grow into competent, independent, and competent human beings, and parents are vital in that process. From what parents experience is poor treatment and witnessing students fail to receive services and seeing staff abandoning their positions. Until this problem is acknowledged and addressed, the difficulties in having a solid special education department will continue to escalate. It is imaginable that the stress levels of remaining school staff must be very high due to the open number of positions. And many students surely have unmet needs without fully supported teachers in classrooms. Many of the parents have similar concerns and hope that the district can provide timely public disclosure of any event that affects students and their education. This includes staffing changes, policy improvements and initiatives, and sharing the results of the polling and responses to common questions and concerns. We request a public report that discusses the staff changes and challenges, and the plan of action be shared directly through email means. Perspective and concerns of current staff on the plan should be included as part of that report. Additionally, CPAC, which has been non-functional, is also a concern for parents. Communication and coordination needs to follow the guidelines, including those regarding district participation and support.
It's 2 minutes. If you just wrap up, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would be beneficial for a meeting and regular communication to be set up to address these issues in a way that public feels they are able to participate in.
Thank you, Ms. Quimby. Next up, we have Amy LeBlanc.
Good evening. My name is Amy LeBlanc of 18 Woodman Way. I just want to start off by saying thank you to the teachers, IAs, service providers, and nurses. As an educator in another district, I know how hard it is and what you have all been through. And it isn't easy. We appreciate you all and what you do for our students. For the district, I have the following concerns with administration at school level and above. Communication with parents is lacking. This includes not being told when staff are gone, especially from important roles. Being told letters went home, but we never received anything. Parents need to be told promptly when critical staff, such as principals, assistant principals, special ed coordinators, and BCBAs, etc., are leaving. My child has been in the district for this is his 7th year at the Bresnahan, and in that time, we have had 2 early childhood principals, 3 grade 1 through 3 principals, 3 assistant principals, 5 special ed team coordinators, including Deb O'Connor, who was assisted. 1 was hired in the summer and left in December. We are notified the day before winter break. 2 BCBAs since the end of 2022-23 school year. Most recent was hired in October and left the district in December. 4 directors of pupil services for the district for 7 years, including Deb O'Connor as intern. Other staff, as indicated by job positions posted currently. Instructional assistants and RBTs, staff CAF workers, and substitutes. When the above critical staff leave, parents like myself are left with the following questions. Are services still being met? Who is ensuring IEPs are being followed? Are behavior plans being written and followed? Discrete trials being done? Who is taking data? Are replacement staff being properly trained? Programming for discrete trials being put together, or is it just maintenance work being done? Do RBTs have a BCBA to oversee them as required to make sure things are done correctly? So consider the following. Why can't Newburyport retain staff? Why are we not doing right? What are we not doing right? Do we not tell incoming staff what the job entails? Are we not paying them enough? Are we not showing them respect as educators? So let's stop for a minute and think about the Clipper values and PBAS that we teach our children in and out of school. Respect, be responsible, perseverance, kindness, innovation, reflection. We ask our students and children to do all these things, so as adults, we need to also do these things. We need to not only show these values, but not only to our students, but also our staff. Responsibility is to be taken on when we can't hire and retain these important staff members.
That's 2 minutes, if you can wrap up.
Yep, I would like to submit this into the record.
Thank you. You can give that to our secretary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Nicole Yusefnia.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Yusefnia, and I reside in Longfellow Drive in Newburyport. I'm the parent of 2 neurodiverse children at the Bresnahan and Knock. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share. I'm here representing families of children who don't qualify for an IEP because they aren't disabled enough. These children, like my son, are lucky to have a 504 plan, and some will go under the radar, and some will go without support they truly need. I'd like you to consider those children and the demands they put on their teachers as you prepare the budget. It's important that teachers have the adequate supports in place to support all children who struggle, not just those with an IEP. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is Alicia Tague.
Good evening, school committee members and Superintendent Gallagher. My name is Alicia Tague, and I reside at 18 Collins Street in Newburyport. Today, I bring attention to a critical matter concerning special education in our community. 2 decades of inconsistent leadership within special education cast a long shadow over the district's ability to realize its mission and vision. The reality of 12 different directors in 20 years is a fact that cannot be overlooked. This frequent turnover has left school staff without the necessary professional development, mentorship, and accountability, thereby affecting the overall culture within our schools and straining relationships with the parent community. We understand that communication between the school and home is critical for a child's success in their educational journey. When there is open and frequent communication between school leaders, teachers, and other staff with parents, trust is fostered, and collaboration becomes more effective in supporting a child's learning. Therefore, I respectfully request the school committee to take proactive steps in addressing this issue. Firstly, a thorough review of policies regarding the effective communication with the parent community is essential. Additionally, an audit of the barriers and issues within special education must be conducted, and a comprehensive examination of the reasons for the high turnover rate is warranted. While turnover in education is not uncommon, the situation in Newburyport is atypical and demands urgent attention. We cannot afford to wait for new leadership to address these challenges. It is crucial for there to be collaboration between the school committee, school leadership, and the parent community to identify solutions and pave the way for a more stable and supportive environment for our students. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., "If I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way." Let us come together to address these issues collaboratively and make meaningful progress. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to taking positive steps together that will benefit the students in Newburyport. Thank you.
Wow, you had 1 second left.
I took practice.
Great timing, I can tell. Okay, next up we have Renee Toth.
Thank you.
Hi, I am Renee Toth. I am the parent of a child who attends via school choice. So my address is 41 Fatherland Drive in Byfield. First, I want to say thank you for making school choice an option for some families. I know you will need to be discussing that at a coming meeting. I hope that you will consider that many of us, let me rephrase, our children benefit from school choice. I hope that will continue to be an option here in Newburyport. I come here tonight to speak on behalf of some of the parents who want to reestablish our CPAC. And for those who don't know, the Special Education Parent Advisory Council is a group of people, does not have to be just parents. We welcome anyone in the community, staff, administrators, students. And our job is to work with the school about some of the exact challenges that have been presented tonight. I am hoping that collectively we can start to work together in a positive forum to welcome whoever our next special education director is. To get off the ground, we are hosting a social hour here on Thursday at 6 o'clock, just 6 to 7, kind of casual. Come meet each other. Let's see if we've got some positive energy. We're doing the same again on Saturday from 1 until 2 at the Knock Mullen Library. So I welcome anybody and everybody to join us. We need to basically start from the ground up because we currently have no leadership, and I value that, this is a community that will support all of our students, and I look forward to being part of a positive change going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and time. You did it. All right. Moving on, we have something very exciting and special tonight. We are going to hear some student poetry. So I don't know, do you want to come up, Ms. Zavo, and introduce, or what?
Yeah.
Or hang on, I guess you have it all planned. That's good.
I defer to my boss.
Okay.
Well, we want to give you some, recognize, for the people who don't know Deb Zabo, a retired legendary English teacher at the high school, has established Poetry Soup, which is a class that is after school. And our students, for years since I've been here, have really engaged in poetry and expression through writing, which is very, very impressive. So impressive that I'm also part of the Poetry in the Spring Poetry Soup. So I have to read, not have to, I'm proud to read my daughter's poetry. And it was so funny because my daughter is also an English major, and I could go on for hours talking about my kids, but she gravitated towards poetry in high school, and I had no idea that was like her hobby. And then when Deb had me come down for Poetry Soup, I could definitely relate. So every year I get to read some of my daughter's poems, and it's an awesome, awesome day. The students that you can hear tonight are amazing, and I'll have Deb introduce you to them. But over the years, their poetry at different events, truly moving. I know last year at the Holocaust Remembrance, students opened that ceremony up with some poetry, and it really was heartfelt and created a lot of emotion. So I felt like for tonight, typically we do our student recognitions, so we're going to recognize Deb Zabo and the Poetry Soup, but also have a performance from our students. So I did all right ad-libbing that, right, Deb?
I'll make a few corrections.
Yeah, of course you will. All right. So
Thank you.
very well.
Oh, it's fun to correct the superintendent.
Yes, it is. It's easy to do.
I wasn't planning to say anything, but you offer a teacher a microphone. And
That's right.
They don't say no. It's true that I'm having trouble retiring, and when you hear these students and read their poems, you'll understand why it's very hard to retire. And so I am still teaching a class, creative writing at night, and we meet once a week, and one of those 4 meetings is Poetry Soup, when the students have an open mic and we have a guest speaker, and our guest speakers are fabulous poets from around the area. And what Sean was mentioning was the Favorite Poem Project, which has been going on for the past 22 years. I think this is going to be our 23rd in the spring, when anyone is invited to choose a poem that means something to them. You don't have to have written it, so I can make my plug now, but any poem that speaks to you in any way that was written by anyone. For Sean, it happens to be his daughter. And we usually do that at the firehouse or sometimes outside at the custom house. And it's a wonderful way to bring the community together and to just feel so good about everyone, because some of you have been there and someone just gets up and reads a poem that means something to them, and really it just feels like you could get world peace that way, not to exaggerate too much. But and I really wanted them to read to the school committee for a couple of reasons. One reason is just to sort of encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, because the young people are wonderful, and a lot of you have had students who've gone to Poetry Soup, and it's just, it's a beautiful way that they connect, and just sort of as a little thank you to the school committee, I think that will encourage you. And also because I was thinking about the portrait of the graduate, and much like what Sean was saying, these young people and many others, really, when you talk about being civically engaged, they're going to share poems that they read for the Newburyport Choral Society concert, and their charge was to write something upbeat. And when the director of the Choral Society said to me, "Can you have the students write something upbeat about winter?" I thought, do you know teenagers? Like, upbeat, I'll try. And they just rose to the occasion. And so they're at the Newburyport Choral Society, they're at Holocaust Day, they were read at Pride, not these 3 necessarily, but sort of every community event, people are calling me all the time now saying, "Can you bring some student poets?" And it's a wonderful way for them to give to the community and be civically engaged. And all right, I'll stop. So they're going to do their thing, and thank you for having them, and for keeping me on, and for encouraging us all. Okay, take it away.
Thank you. My name is Ebony Martino. I am in grade 12 at the Newburyport High School. Technically, I'm homeschooled, but I go there for this one class because I cannot give it up. This is a poem that I wrote for the Newburyport Choral Society. It is titled, "There is a Certain State of Winter." There is a certain state of winter where the trees are bones and veins, and the raven croons to the clouds in the serene slumber that befalls all that we may see. Gravel crumbles and plummets into the abyss the fox leaves behind in her trail, sending out a hollow echo that hangs desperate in frigid air. Before I rest my eyes at the end of a long day, the frozen wind creeps through my window like a swift-footed cat, and everything is icy to the touch.
I listen to that wind and it sings until I am asleep. When the bitter morning finally arrives, I cherish it more than the warmth of a blanket on a cold winter's night. I reach out a shivering, chilled hand touching the air still as stone and whisper a sonnet from mulberry wine-stained lips. The words appear before me in a cloud of mist and frost. This is the cold that poets write about. There is a certain state of winter where our skeletons lie dormant and the fox plods through the gravestones and the poet promenades along the Bartlett Mall and celebrates the silent slumber.
Hi, my name is Sophie LaFranchise.
And I'm Shannon Brock.
And the poem we're going to read, as Ms. Saba said, we wrote for the December concert for the Newburyport Choral Society.
This is called The Testimony of the Winds.
Be loud.
Winter begins and time disintegrates like snowflakes melting in a warm palm. I'm left grasping onto memories, now almost fully dissolved.
Winter places me in a windy snow globe, a fishbowl of swirling, lost hopes, challenging me to look ahead to see my future self in the sunrise. The grand finale of another planetary rotation, how beautiful the irony of the winter season, with the warmth of hearts and hearts, tempering the outside chills and ills. It almost seems as if
The pulse goes still. Yet marks of deer hooves and fox paws tell a different story, of a quickening tempo and a wintry glory, where the world is viewed through different eyes.
Meanwhile, the morning sunlight reflects off the snow, reminding us the sun still can shine, even in the bitter cold.
Snow, an illumination for the world.
Snow when wind lays down a blank canvas.
A blanket rather than a suffocation.
That sits glistening, waiting for new roots formed by uncertain footprints.
I am wary of the new, but I choose to see the fresh snow inviting the angels.
Their shimmering outline of beauty, their promise of peace. I choose to believe the wind holds reason.
The passing of time holds power within.
Even though these beliefs may flurry out of reach, blown by the harshest snowstorms,
Each blizzard will clear. A cardinal, content in both winter and spring, peacefully flying, riding every breeze, pauses on a bare branch to sing its harmonious tune. And now, we too resolve to appreciate each precious moment before the wind carries us forward to the next.
All right, awesome job, and we truly appreciate it. And we have some certificates of achievement for you. This goes on your fridge, remember, for 30 days. And you share it with all your friends on the weekends, all right? So at this point, we'd like to have you all come up for a quick little photo op. Ms. Zabo, come on up. Vice Chair. It's all right, we look purple. Awesome job. They're beautiful. And if we have parents, if you want to get closer, feel free. Yeah. Part of the dad's roles. I'm good at that myself.
Wow, they're amazing.
Awesome. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Awesome job. Oh, the best. Thank you. Quick little recess.
All right, we'll now take a brief recess. That was great.
You guys
that
have
we're doing the
forms,
interviews.
right?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect.
Maybe like late, probably not.
There's a lot of
first time
emails circulating.
Primarily women forever. Right? If you don't count the mayor.
So you need a pen?
Four women.
Hey, when I was scraping my car when I threw my.
Oh no, even this one.
That's what I should have done.
And how many left-handed? You're left-handed? Yep. I'm left-handed. You left-handed?
No.
Sarah's lefty.
And Juliet.
Juliet.
Yep.
2, 3, 4. We win.
Yes.
How many books do you have? Is everything essentially
A little crazy.
Yeah, so I use all of my history syllabus as well. So I have all my classes and notebooks, and then also folders. So this is my U.S. history, and I sort of by
Folks, a moment, but I think we can jump back in soon.
Yeah, I think you get all your
But
school.
here I have the reading chapters from the textbook.
Oh, no way. You can download it.
Okay, everyone, we're going to jump back in with our meeting. Moving on to the consent agenda. Mr. Callahan, are you ready with the warrants?
I am. One thing that's different about this warrant is I was the only one to sign it because of the time frame required by the city. So we're gonna vote on it, but it's already been signed and submitted.
Okay.
Which actually seems kind of backwards that it was already sent in and now we're gonna vote on it. So, I move that the following signed warrants of the Newburyport Public Schools amounting in the aggregate $518,572.93 be forwarded to the city auditor. There are no conflicts.
Second?
Can I just add to some discussion? So it would be helpful to know in the future if something like this happens, if there's a process for us to be notified via email so that we don't have to be basically approving a warrant retroactively.
Right. But it's in our policy that we only need one person to sign it.
Signatures is
If
one
time,
thing, but voting to approve at a meeting, I think
Right.
we should
Yeah.
just, so maybe
Is that
that's just
something
something
you
you
could look
guys
into?
could,
Sure.
could discuss
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
a finance committee.
these things usually happen at the last second, like, oh no.
Right.
Is it just because it was a delay
Because
since
the
our
holiday,
last meeting?
yeah, and,
So
Yeah.
kind
and
of
the
an
holiday and
unusual circumstance.
the city needed it to bring to whatever happens after it leaves us. So yes.
Yeah. And
So-
I understand that. I think if it would be good practice if we could at least be notified before we
Sure.
have to vote on it.
Agreed. All right. Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have several sets of minutes to approve. The first one is from the December 4th meeting. Are there any corrections to those minutes? No? Could I get a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next set is from December 18th. And again, any corrections to those minutes? All right. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then the last set is from January 6th, the retreat. Do we usually do retreat minutes and approve them, Ms. Yale? Maybe that.
We do notes.
We do notes.
Yes.
Do we
There's a
need to do?
mistake on one of them.
I don't think that we need to officially approve those.
I don't think we need to officially approve them. I guess I would just say it's a report. It's just a recording of what happened, but it's not a complete recording of what happened. So if anybody
Right.
wants to, for perpetuity's sake, correct anything. And the only thing I was going to mention is, no, I'm not finding the notes. Sorry.
I had a couple small corrections.
Yeah.
While you're,
Okay.
Go ahead and look.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Ms. Yale, towards the bottom, under the, was like a subcommittee list.
Which page? On the last page?
I want to say it was the last page.
Okay.
Under subcommittee list, it was Brianna is unable. It said enable instead of unable, just a spelling.
Okay, I'm
trying to
find it. Well, I actually was going to talk about that particular.
That same spot?
Yeah. So, I mean, again, this is not supposed to be an official record. It's just to capture the highlights. I think the highlight of that discussion was not so much one person's availability to do more than two subcommittees. I think we all have conflicts and capacity issues. I think what we concluded as a group was that it would be useful to have each member sit on at least one school committee standing subcommittee, and the CISL and the other ones listed on the mayor's list are not subcommittees. So I think that the point here is not so much one member's availability, and I think what the mayor's result was reflected this, is that each school committee member sit on at least one of the standing subcommittees.
So maybe just strike that.
I guess I feel like just striking it.
I'm trying to get to that.
Unless others have an objection.
I would just say I wasn't there, but I think that's fine, and I think this works out great this time around. But next year it could be different. So
Right.
just so it's
Yeah, and it's not to say that you couldn't sit on more than one. It's just that we thought it was important for each
Sure.
school committee,
And I think
where
that-
possible, to be on at least one
Right.
standing subcommittee.
So we can talk about revising that. It's not, they're not formal minutes anyways. And then the other thing was just another sort of typo at the very bottom on bus contract. You see just below that?
Yes.
At the next school committee meeting. See where it says member?
Yep.
Just a small thing at the end there.
Yep.
Okay?
And the date was wrong too. I put the 16th on the top.
So there you go. We got it all taken care of. All right. So as long as everyone's fine with not voting on that, we'll just move on. So it's time for Lizzie's student representative report.
This way. All right, good evening. I guess we'll just get started with Bresnahan news. The Bresnahan, our mid-year assessments of iReady, which is math, and DIBELS, literacy, are starting this week. This relevant, up-to-date data is extremely useful for our teachers, and they will use this data to inform instruction, group students in small learning groups, and also determine intervention cycles. PBIS at the Bres. Last week, our K to third grade students reviewed what it means to be safe, kind, and responsible here at the Bresnahan. Students in grades 1 through 3 attended grade-level assemblies where their peers modeled what expected behaviors look like in the hall, lunchroom, and recess. We encourage families to continue these conversations at home, reinforcing the importance of being safe, kind, and responsible, not only at school, but also in their daily lives. Inclusive Playground Edition. Thank you to the NEF, the Rotary Club, and Melissa Doogie for helping to add 4 interactive panels to the playground. These panels will help students who may be temporarily injured, differently abled, or who are overstimulated by the hustle and bustle of our busy playground. The installation of these panels is not only an example of the Bresnahan School's commitment to inclusivity and making learning equitable for all students, but also a testament to the surrounding community's commitment as well. This would not be possible without the generosity of the NEF. Thank you. The Skills for Life series. Newburyport Rec and Youth Services proudly presents the Skills for Life series. Brett Uchkunis is a professional personality and life coach for kids. Uch, as kids affectionately call him, specializes in quickly and deeply connecting with children on a level rarely accessed by our other performers. His assembly programs cater to elementary and middle school students and focus on making positive life choices for a healthy state of mind and spirit. His Skills for Life programs are designed to give students tools and techniques for navigating everyday life that are easy to use and remember for a lifetime. Each show focuses on a specific life skill that will be useful immediately, regardless of age. Uch joined us in school yesterday presenting his Kinds of Kindness show. You can see videos of the event on YouTube. Now, families are invited to the Family Night Series, Wednesdays, January 17th, 24th, 31st, February 7th from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Knock Auditorium. This series is free thanks to Newburyport Rec and Youth Services, formerly NYS. Kids and families who attend most of the sessions are invited to a pizza party and yo-yo lesson with Uch before the last night at 5 p.m. Some sessions include the lessons, how to make a mistake, secrets to being social, find your superpower, and the perfectly imperfect show. Newburyport Rec and Youth Services, thank you to Newburyport Rec and Youth Services for sponsoring this series for Bresnahan students and families. Now at the Mullen. The Mullen students additionally had a great time in the assembly with Brett Uchkunis, a professional personality and life coach for kids. See the video on YouTube from Uch himself. You can hear our Mullen students in the background. Now on to the Knock student news. Since the holiday break and the new year, the Knock has hit the ground running. The College and Career Series continues through the end of the month. Thus far, over 30 professionals have come to speak to 8th graders about their careers. Students are reporting some similar messages that they are hearing from our speakers. One 8th grader reports, "It has been interesting how I've heard 3 speakers from 3 different careers and career paths, but they all have similarities by telling us do good, to get into fields of service, and to give back and find something that you are passionate about." Another student reports how one speaker said, "I have had 2 careers and I plan on having at least 2 more, and that although the lessons I was taught in school were super important, it was the skills that I attained in school that has allowed me to transform from my first career in sales to my second career working in a nonprofit." Lastly, another student reported that one speaker had a similar message around using the skills we learn in school to adapt to a world that is changing, and some of the jobs that we will be doing in our lives do not exist yet. The Career Speaker Series continues to support students and exposes students to new ideas and opportunities through our community partnerships. Next, student musicians performed at the Knock Winter Concert last Wednesday. There were over 20 performances, and 95 students and 5 faculty members participated in the recital. It was a great night that was well attended by the community. Congratulations to all our performers. Student leaders are working with Mr. Marcos on student leadership initiatives like organizing a stress-free day and the 4th annual March Madness competition that ends up with a competition for the illustrious Clipper Cup. Now at Newburyport High School. As with prior years, our students will participate in the end of semester week, during which they will wrap up their first semester coursework. To accommodate for assessments and/or other course activities happening during this week, students will have an early release schedule all 4 days. Please see this link for the schedule attached on the Newburyport High School Google Calendar. Also note that bus pickup January 23rd to 26th will be at 12:45 p.m. Newburyport High School will host Greater Essex County College Planning Night on Thursday, January 25th from 6 to 8 p.m. in the auditorium. You are invited to attend our Greater Essex County College Planning Night. This is a great event for junior families. However, we encourage families from grade 9 and 10 to attend as well. Newburyport High School will host the seminar Future Pathways, Alternatives to Success Without a College Degree. This will be a good event for families to attend if you have a student interested in learning about other options for after high school, beyond high school. We would like to congratulate and commend Kylie Farrell, Logan Freeman, Heather Mendez-Hevelin, Alexandra Pachulin, and Sydney Pearl on their very successful toy drive and donations to Toys for Tots. Working collaboratively with Mr. Sean Blue, they organized and marketed an impressive collection for this service organization. Way to go. Congratulations to the Investment Club. With 50-plus members strong, the club has participated in a semester-long investment competition that involves over 900 public and private schools in Massachusetts. The club was given $100,000 in virtual money to invest throughout the semester. I am excited to announce that Newburyport High School Investment Club placed first. Be sure to be on the lookout for the press release in the coming months. Congratulations again to all of the students part of the club, along with their advisor, Mr. McCarthy. This weekend, 3 NHS musicians, Cedar Schumacher, Josh Burrell, and Evan Legue, will audition for the Massachusetts All-State Jazz Band, and Chorus. It is rare indeed that multiple students earn a spot to audition with the best of the entire state. We in the music department and NHS as a whole are very proud of these students in earning the privilege of this audition and wish them success. The following students have been recognized as December Clippers of the Month. Accomplishment for these students range from embracing learning and demonstrating growth in the classroom, as well as collaborating and persevering through difficult tasks in and out of the classroom. Addison Bentley, Julia Bentley, Briggs Lorenzo, Sophia Matheson, Annie Mellett, Soma Mirzai, Lucy Reimer, Noah Tarkin, Benafsha Tashi, and Benjamin Warnett. The Gear to Share program collects new and lightly used sporting equipment for students in need across the region. This year, the program is sponsored by the freshman class with Lottie O'Brien as the main point of contact for questions. On January 19th, boys basketball will host Pentucket. If you have any equipment to donate, please bring it to the game. That's all I have. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you, Lizzie. Tough act to follow, Mr. Wolf, but it's your turn. Come tell us about the New York City field trip.
Lizzie's the reason why I don't go on the loudspeaker anymore. She does our morning announcements.
Do you?
She's a tough act to follow.
So you know.
Yes, I do. She does an amazing job. So thanks for having me tonight. And so I'm here just to ask school committee's permission for an upcoming field trip. So every year, once the theater program gets organized around their spring show, they poll the students to see if there's interest about going to New York, where they then organize opportunities for students to experience Broadway and meet with just different organizations down there just to experience theater, and how that may then play into what they will be doing with their show, which is Legally Blonde this year. So the date for their proposed trip is Friday, February 9th, which would be leaving at 8 a.m. and coming home on Sunday, February 11th, approximately around 6 p.m. And then just a summary of the trip. This is a place-based educational trip that will allow the theater, dance, and vocal music students the opportunity to work directly with working Broadway professionals on the acquiring of new skills and owning of current skills in their art form. Students will have a Broadway conductor, music director work with them on vocal selections previously prepared from the current NHS Spring musical Legally Blonde. They also will be taught original choreography by the current dance captain of the Broadway production of Sweeney Todd, which they will be seeing. In a third workshop, they will work from a former Broadway cast member for an ensemble experience where they will learn music and original choreography from the show and perform a portion of that number as an ensemble. Students will attend 2 very different professional productions, Broadway musical Sweeney Todd and a long-form sketch comedy improv show. And then on their final day, they will be immersed in American musical theater history as they visit the newly opened Museum of Broadway. The cost of the trip per student is $750. And then, as we've done with our other trips, for any students of need, we'd be able to subsidize that cost.
Great. I went to the Museum of Broadway last week. It was amazing. Good call.
Well, that was all the teachers, and I think their student leaders there.
Are there any questions for Mr. Wolf? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. This is really complete description, so I appreciate that. So the cost of the trip is $750. I know folks who don't think they can afford can reach out to the organizers. Are we offsetting the cost at all, or is our students pay? I mean, is that basically the whole fee?
That is the whole fee for the trip.
Okay.
Yes.
My only concern, and I know that I've expressed this before, is that it is, this is a fantastic opportunity, and if I were a student in need and I knew that I had to ask for help, I think that can be daunting for some folks. So whatever we can do, if there are students already participating in the program at the school that, could benefit from this, I think it'd be great if we could reach out to folks proactively versus, waiting for someone to come with their hand out.
Yep, no, that makes sense.
And I appreciate that the school makes an effort to provide the financial assistance.
Go ahead.
Hey, Mr. Wolf.
Hello, Brian.
I hope you're not going to say that Lizzie's going to do your phone messages, because everybody loves to hear the "Hello, Clippers." We don't want to miss that.
No.
So it's a place-based education.
That was a terrible.
Nobody can do it like him. I don't have that accent.
But I think the point is that we would miss that.
Certainly,
Yes.
yeah. I look forward to them.
I'll
See that
make sure
thing?
to continue that.
Newburyport High School, I don't pick it up on purpose. I want to wait and have the recording. So.
Me too.
So it's place-based education, which is awesome. So we talk a lot about how we shouldn't be charging anything for taking a field trip to the Museum of Science or whatever it is. I know this is a larger scale hotel and all that. But does the PTO offer money for the transportation for things like this, like they do in field trip buses?
They don't go up to high school.
Yeah, the PTO is not the high school.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
it's
Thanks.
Like a K-8.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is there another way we can subsidize the transportation part of this? I know we do it every year, but it's it's a bunch of dough.
I mean, that might be something that sometimes I might be able to try to work out just through the budget. Just in terms of, it's not something I had thought about in prior years, but it's something I can definitely think about.
Yep.
Too.
Okay. That's fine. Just curious.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
I just was curious to know how many students usually avail themselves of the trip.
I want to say they had about 35 students who had expressed an interest of attending.
Great, thanks.
So, and I think they have maybe 40 or 50 that are going to be in the cast and the crew of the show.
Over the show, okay. Yeah.
Does that mean that everyone who wants to go is able to go?
Yes.
Or? That's good. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I made a sample motion, so if anyone would like to read it.
I'll go. In accordance with policy JJH, I move to approve the New York City field trip for February 2024 as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. You laughing at my sample policy?
I'm laughing that I made a mistake while I was reading it. So.
Okay, so now we're going to have a hiring process update from Pam Keeley.
Hi, everybody. I'm here to provide an update on the hiring process for the Director of Pupil Services position. So since we met last, we have had our screening committee meetings, which we've discussed, and we've had 2 rounds of interviews. Before I go any further and speak to what's happening in the interviews, Mike Palladino, who is our district consultant that's been working with us from NESDAQ, did ask me to publicly thank the screening committee that we put together for the first round of interviews. He indicated that they were thorough and thoughtful in their process and asked a lot of incredibly great questions, and he was very impressed with the way that they conducted themselves as the screening committee. So I assured him, because he couldn't make it here tonight because of the weather, that I would publicly thank the screening committee for their first round of participation. Subsequent to that, the screening committee moved forward. Since we spoke last, we had moved forward with 4 candidates for the position that the screening committee suggested or recommended would be appropriate to bring into interview. From those 4, one, the day prior to the interviews, recused themselves from the search and indicated that they were no longer interested in the position. So the screening committee interviewed the other 3 candidates. And then from those 3 candidates, the majority vote was to move 2 forward into the next round of interviews. So that next round of interviews was conducted this evening. This afternoon, the candidates spent an entire day in the district. They spent time with district administration, traveling to each of our schools, meeting with staff, interacting with people in the buildings. They both also participated in a community forum, and the community forum was run in a question and answer session. So all of the questions that were utilized for the community forum were questions that were submitted to us from various stakeholders within the Newburyport Public Schools community. So the candidates both had an opportunity to be asked and answered the same set of questions publicly for parents to participate and any stakeholders within the district. While the other was participating in the forum, the second candidate was being interviewed by a committee comprised of administration and 2 members of the school committee. So the people that participated in that interview committee were school committee members Juliet Walker and Sarah Hall. Sean Gallagher was there, Lisa Maria Polito representing the superintendent and the assistant superintendent. Deborah O'Connor, the interim director of student services, was there, or pupil services. Lisa Furlong, who is the director of technology and communication. Gail Phillips, who is the administrative assistant to the director of pupil services, and Andy Wolf. Andy's gone. Andy Wolf, who is the principal of the high school. So that was the group that comprised the second round of interviews. At this point, we are deciding as a community what the next step will be, but there will be more vetting and interviewing taking place for each of the candidates. Dr. Palladino asked me also to mention that he is doing a lot of professional vetting on both of the candidates and continues to do so. And once that is done, he will provide an update to the district with all of the information that he has been able to garner on the candidates. So that's where we are in the process at this point.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Keeley?
Just a clarification. I think a couple things. The school committee will vote on the appointment ultimately, and I think it comes as a recommendation from the superintendent based on the work done with the NESTEC and
Yes.
so forth. Okay. So, and then secondly, I think if we need to, we can schedule a special meeting to have that vote because our
Yes,
next
we can.
meeting might not allow enough time to act. Okay. So stay tuned if people are following the process that we may post a special meeting for that vote.
Thank you. We had actually already talked about that because I
Okay.
believe it may be 3 weeks to our next meeting just because there's a 5th Monday in January. So I think it's 3 weeks till we meet again. So that is a possibility. Yeah.
What kind of turnout did we have today for the community forum?
We actually had a fair turnout. I would say there was probably maybe 20 people,
Yeah.
15, 20 people.
Andy and I were there.
And both Member Callahan and Boger were both there and present as well.
It's good.
Well done, guys.
Hey.
Ms. Higgins?
I have a couple of questions for you, 2 of which I emailed earlier. So the first is, how are we collecting data from staff and the community on their feelings on the candidates? So staff members got a chance to meet the candidates today. How are we collecting their feedback or reflections? And then similarly from the community based on the forum today.
So the community forum was meant, and I spoke with our NESDAQ consultant, the community forum was meant to be an informational session. So there was not information that was gathered from the participants at that forum. There will be conversations with the staff members that participated in kind of the meet and greets today throughout the district. So once we've had an opportunity, the day was pretty long, so I haven't had an opportunity to follow up with any of the staff members, but I will do that. You had also asked a question earlier in what are we looking for? I don't remember exactly the language that you used, but prior to any of this process starting back in October when we had the community forums and we had the survey, it was based on that information that we did create what you were looking for, which is the profile of what Newburyport Public Schools was looking for, so I can share that. That is also on our district website. So the results of all of the questions and comments about what people were looking for is currently on the district website.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, I know you went through that process. I just didn't see the result of it. So I just wanted, so I'll look on
It's
the
under
website.
the special education section of the district website.
Okay, great. So thank you. I'll go ahead and read that. So just for those of us who haven't gotten a chance to participate in any of the interview processes, I would just like to get just an overview of, who are these candidates besides their resume? Who are the candidates? How did they answer some of the questions? And, maybe that can be done through a phone call. I'm not sure, the best way for you to do that, but I would just love to hear kind of how this process has gone for these 2 finalists.
Absolutely.
One more question for you that I didn't pose earlier, which is, I'm not going to phrase it as a question. I'm going to phrase it as a comment that I'm really hoping, because this is such an important position, we all know that this is an important position, that I'm hoping that the superintendent and the staff are really, really excited about one or both of these candidates. And if you don't feel very excited about these candidates, I would prefer to start the process over. Either in the spring or even, to start the next school year if we run this process in, July and August or something like that, as long as Deb O'Connor would actually stay through the end of the year.
Run, Deb, run.
But, we all know that this is a really important position, and I just don't want us to settle with, this is the best candidate of our pool. If you're not really excited about them, that's my preference is to start over, if we're not. And then finally, I think I mentioned this a while ago when we talked about staff turnover and then hearing public comment today as well. Just for both of you, I think it would actually be a very good idea for the district to run some kind of audit, either with an outside, I would recommend an outside vendor, just to do some kind of community stakeholder input, just interviews with the administrative staff, interviews with principals, staff members from the district, CPAC parents, other, parents, just to say what has been your experience in the district so far? What are the opportunities? What are the barriers? What are the challenges? There has been significant turnover, and I don't think that's any one person's fault. Sometimes turnover is just the result of an individual person's circumstances, and it has nothing to do with the district. But because there has been so much turnover in the last decade in the special ed office, I do think it's something worth considering. Can we go out to bid and just do some, like 8-week long process that results in a report that the new special ed director can take, see this objective data, and say, what is it that I need to do to kind of right size this department?
Okay.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for being flexible with the timing of the community forum. I know the original time, community members really wanted to make an effort to be there. So thank you for backing up the timing so that people, either because of work or dropping off or picking up their kids, could attend. And it was reasonably well attended, I think. Have you considered further community feedback? I mean, I think that's one of Ms. Higgins' questions. I mean, there was just some confusion amongst the participants, meaning was the community forum primarily for people to register their pre-selected questions? I think some folks were just confused, like they thought they were going to have the opportunity to ask questions themselves, which I thought you were very clear about in the presentation of the forum. And you handled the question about sort of feedback later. But is there another opportunity for people in the community to provide feedback or provide some perspective above and beyond public comment?
So at this point, as I said just a moment ago, we're not exactly clear. I think we need to, we ended our day at about 10 minutes before we had to be here, so we really haven't had a chance to discuss what the next steps look like. But I think there has been a lot of attention paid to what feedback we need. So I think as an organization, we will discuss what that looks like moving forward, but I'm not comfortable at this moment stating exactly what the next steps are because we haven't had a chance to even dissect what happened this afternoon. So
excellent, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just to follow up, so we're in the process of a tiered monitoring review. So we have a DESE team coming in, and as part of that process, they gather feedback or send out surveys to all of our special education families. They also will come in to the district for a week or so and meet with different personnel, different staff. So I think for a report, especially for a new director, that will provide a lot of input and insight on the next steps moving forward. So we kind of have that built in. It came at a kind of, I think, a perfect time because we're on we're the even districts with
we also went through self-assessment.
Correct. So that we had to do the self-assessment. So we provided all that information to DESE. So by the end of this school year, late spring, we'll have that report that we can share with school committee.
When you say even, you mean even years, like every other year?
Yeah. So we're on the 24. So there's, when you look at the tier monitoring, there's different districts that are on this review.
So every 2 years?
Yeah,
we have
6
to send
years.
a certain amount of data every year because there's different indicators every year.
Right.
And then it used to be every 3 years, and they've kind of tiered them.
Deb, you're amazing, but no one can hear you if they're from home.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
you either have to come up to the microphone or.
Oh,
Sure.
I mean, if she's going to be answering questions.
Yeah, if you want to elaborate on that process, if you wouldn't mind just coming up to the mic.
Do you need any other information from me?
I just want to say thank you, Pam, because today was quite a logistic undertaking, and then you had the snow.
And the weather on top of it.
And then all that, so good job.
And I will say thank you, but I have an incredible team that I've been working with, so it is definitely a village.
That was evident.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So questions about the tiered focus monitoring.
You might have to bring the microphone down a
A little.
Yeah, great. Okay.
Only a little. So the tiered focus monitoring, every year we have certain indicators that we're required to answer to.
We are also required to do a full self-assessment, and you assign somebody from DESE that walks you through what you're looking at, what you need to pull. That has been completed. I did that in the fall. And I did that with the help of the team facilitators at the building levels as well, and our person from DESE. And in February, they will be coming into the district, and they will be pulling all new folders. So what they do is they actually come in and they just pick folders and they look through all the data and all the information. They also interview staff, they interview parents, and then they come back with a report. And then it is we have to then respond to that with action plans if we're not meeting certain requirements. And there's probably, I want to say 50, 52. Some of them are civil rights. Lisa was there a minute ago. But some of them are civil rights, some of them are EL, and some of them are, in fact, special education. But there's like 50 indicators that we have to answer to. And that takes a look at our process, it takes a look at our staff, it takes a look at our programming, it takes a look at our facilities. So I think it's a wonderful thing for a new director, because they'll be able to come in and say, okay, this is where I start.
Mm-hmm. That's great. It sounds very comprehensive.
It is. It's very comprehensive, and it takes place every few years, and it rotates. So you get a piece every year.
Mm-hmm. Great.
So we'll have that information by the end of the school year.
Thank you. Thanks for stepping up and put you on the spot there.
I think I'd ever talk in front of the school committee.
There you go. All right, so now I'm going to turn it over to the mayor for an update on the proposed Whittier building project.
Yeah, I don't have a huge update. I mean, last Tuesday, I hosted a information session, kind of a regional information session, where we had about a couple hundred people show up to the Knock Middle School. We had representatives from each of the 11 communities that feed into the Whittier School District. All elected officials. Haverhill sent their chief of staff to the mayor's office. And just it was an opportunity for just information around the project to be presented. Again, Whittier was invited to the presentation. They declined the invitation. So we did the best we could, trying to just laying out the facts around not only the school and the project, but the history of Whittier and the acts of 1967. And then it was great that, then we talked about the voting that's going to take place. And just a reminder that the vote takes place a week from tonight. It's January 23rd, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. in the 11 cities and towns. It'll all be happening at the same time. In Newburyport, no changes to the polling places, except I believe for Plum Island. I think Plum Island's going to vote at the Parker River Refuge. So I thought it was really, we got a lot of great feedback from Tuesday night. And then what was great about it was we did hear directly from the elected officials in 10 of the 11 cities and towns, which I also thought was really great. This past weekend, there was Whittier held a tour, which I know a lot of people from Newburyport attended, just kind of see what the status of their current building is. And what else? I think just going forward, the vote coming up a week from today, if you were interested in writing a letter at all to the paper about the project, either way, those are due on Thursday, January 18th. And if you're a senior out there and you're looking for someone to help you get to the polls on the 23rd at the Senior Center here, we are going to be giving people rides to the polls. So all you have to do is call the Council of Aging office and talk to Rosemary, and we'll get you signed up for a ride on the vote day, which is January 23rd. And that's it.
Nice. My mother got a phone call about that.
Oh, the verbal call, yeah. Yeah, it was just, again, it was such a small period of time left. We're just trying to think of creative ways to get at least information in front of people, and hopefully they can make their own decision about how they'd like to vote. But we're really just trying to utilize everything, whether it be robocalls or, we've got some flyers here just around some of the financials around the project. What a yes vote means, what does a no vote mean. I've been trying to get here for lunch just about every day to talk to seniors. School committee member Callahan joined me one of those days.
I'm surprised Gallagher's not here. It's free lunch.
Well, now that he knows. Wow, that's
So yeah, so again, if you have any questions, please reach out. We do have a tab on our website. If you go to cityofnewburyport.com and go into the mayor's office, on the left-hand side, you'll see the Whittier School Project tab there. There's a lot of great information there. So just hopefully make a plan to vote. And if you have any questions, please reach out to my office.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the mayor for the meeting last Tuesday. It was a very dynamic event, and it was remarkable in a lot of ways. So it was good to, as a community member, to participate. Committee member Shaw was there. Committee member Callahan was there as well, and it was notable, distinctly notable, that all the elected representatives from the 10 participating towns that the mayor mentioned were deeply appreciated of the mayor's effort to bring them together. It was also a distinct amount of unanimity about how in the dark they felt. On the other side of the ledger, the participants, there was a good contingency or faction from Whittier, students and teachers. So it was really nice to see that representation and to hear how strongly they felt about it. There's one, there was a statement made at the end of the meeting by a community member that I just wanted to reiterate because it hasn't been said enough, I think. She merely said that vocational education and fiduciary responsibility are not mutually exclusive. And I think that that's an important thing to reiterate, that there's a lot of members of the community that are not either on one side or the other of this issue. They simply want to be more well-informed about process, and they want to do what's best for their individual community and the communities they represent. So just wanted to say that.
Thank you. All right. So next up we have the 2024 subcommittee assignments, which I guess is just an opportunity for you to announce them because we hadn't done that formally at this point.
Sure.
I have them right here.
Oh, great.
If you don't
I think I know them. But,
Okay.
and we don't have, obviously we don't have the docket of subcommittees as we did in the past, but we have the finance subcommittee, so Brian Callahan will continue to chair, along with new member Andy Boger and Sarah Hall, vice chair. The policy subcommittee, Juliet Walker will continue to chair that subcommittee with Brianna Higgins and Kathleen Shaw. And I just put my name on the certificate evaluation one, even though this is not a year that we'll be doing that. But I will be, collecting data for us to be able to use next year for his evaluation. And this is just on the sheet that I submitted, just because it is important to know who's serving where on the subcommittees, but it's also important to look at overall workload of members as well. So that's why I do include this. Brian Callahan serves on the Newburyport Education Foundation Board that's appointed by the NEF. Kathleen Shaw is going to jump in with her great special ed background for CPAC, and Julie Walker will continue to serve attending CISL meetings.
Great.
That's it.
Thank you. And just to note, I'm going to continue on CPAC for now, just while we're trying to transition. We're going to work together, Kathleen, so I will continue to attend those meetings, even though she's the rep, until we can feel like we're, heading in a good direction with that. And this is actually a nice transition into the proposal for a communications subcommittee, if you want to start that conversation,
Sure.
Ms. Walker.
Yeah. So in your packet, actually on your agenda, is an explanation or a proposal to form a communications subcommittee of the school committee. Subcommittees of the school committee are explained in policy BDE, which is also includes our standing committees. A subcommittee of the school committee has no power on its own. It reports to the school committee, makes recommendations related to certain issues or topics, and it gets its basically, the subcommittees gets its appointment or its job description from the school committee as well. There are other committees. There are advisory committees. There are superintendent committees. This is a proposal to form a subcommittee of the school committee. In consideration of this, we could either form it as a standing committee. That means that it would just be on a subcommittee going forward, or we could decide to form a subcommittee for a period of time to see if it works out. And in that case, I would propose we do it for a year and then decide next year if we want to have it go forward. The reason behind this suggestion actually came out of a few conversations that we've had as an entire committee. Partly related to, we used to have a joint ed committee that wasn't actually anything, and it wasn't a school committee, it was a city council committee. And the goal there was to help with communications primarily between the city council and the school committee. The city council about a year ago reformed their subcommittees, their committees as well, and tried to decrease the amount of workload for individual members. And got rid of this particular committee. But as I was doing a little research, I noticed that we've also had prior communications committees, not too distant past, of the city council that were also had school committee members. So communications obviously is something that we've been concerned about for a while, for many years. And the outcome of the joint ed committee going away was, there was definitely mixed feelings, I think, but I think one of the concerns was just keeping that communication line open. We've tried to do having some follow-up conversations or follow-up invitations to city council members to come to the finance subcommittee and around budget season. That could be one role of this communication subcommittee, but I think also there's opportunity here to help just with district-wide communications and advising the school committee and the district on mechanisms to be transparent, to get communications out. I think we do a good job, but maybe having some opportunities to have conversations about that. Maybe talking more about the newsletter and some of the activities we've tried this year as a school committee to get discussions around the budget. So I think the purview could be fairly broad, and it also doesn't have to necessarily be a committee that meets all the time. It could meet a few times a year. But that was my suggestion. Those were the discussions that came, the basis of the discussions that formed this recommendation. So I put together a sample description of the subcommittee. And it's pretty broad, but would be open to making that motion and having further discussion unless people had specific questions at this time.
I have one question. If we were to make this a standing committee, which I think makes sense, would we need to then add it into our policy language?
We could do that. I don't think there's any rush to do that because the formation of the subcommittee would be the vote and the vote and the specifics in the vote. But maybe eventually, just to be consistent in our policies, we could add it.
But no urgency.
No urgency
in doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I guess the question then is just pros and cons, right? On making it standing versus something that we try for a year. I mean, I feel like those are effectively the same thing, right? Because we can establish a committee and then say, maybe we don't need this committee.
Correct.
Right?
We can do that too. Yeah.
Right. So to me, it doesn't seem like there's really a difference between those two. But
no, we just have to vote.
We do have to decide,
vote.
right?
Yeah. If you decide it's not going to be a standing committee, then you'd want to revisit it in a year and say, we're going to vote to not continue it.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to weigh in? No?
I mean, I like the idea of trying it out for a year and then maybe say, we'll make a decision by, first meeting in December and then finalize it the last meeting of December if that's what we were going to do. I just don't know exactly what it looks like yet. So I don't know if it has to be a standing committee or if we can just make it an ad hoc of the school committee. But
I think it would be good for it to be a subcommittee officially, just so that it has a role in reporting to the school committee. So whether it's a temporary one or and my goal with the subcommittees consist of school committee members, whereas like an advisory committee to the school committee could include community members as well. But I think keeping it very clear that we are that this committee would be reporting to the school committee, making recommendations to the school committee, versus trying to be too broad and interfere with things that maybe are a little beyond us as individuals.
Right. Okay.
Excuse me, I would agree that I think we should just keep it for a year. Or maybe this is such a good point in the year for us, in January to be talking about this and say, let's just keep it for a year. It kind of forces the issue. It forces us to reconsider it next January, December or January, and then kind of make a decision on if it should be standing or not. And then just to, I think the subcommittee itself can probably decide how often it wants to meet, but we did talk about it might not need to meet monthly. It could be, a quarterly type of thing, because it's just creating these recommendations, say we're going to have this newsletter, or these are the things we'd like to have in the newsletter. And then, we certainly use Lisa Furlong to help put that into practice, or whatever that might be, but it doesn't need to be something that meets super regularly.
I agree.
So would it work to establish it as a subcommittee with the intent to have a little review in early December?
Sure.
Yeah. Would that work?
Yeah, I guess. And I'm
Do you want to go ahead and make the motion now?
Yeah, I can make the motion. Okay. So I guess I would move, in accordance with policy BDE, I would move to establish a communications subcommittee for a term of, I guess, 1 year. So from now till December 2024, which shall be responsible for reviewing and advising the school committee on communications practices and methods between the school committee and the school district, the city council, and the community at large, with a review of the subcommittee's work to be undertaken at the end of the year in December.
I think you already said that.
Yes, I said it twice.
In December part. Is that, I'm just looking at Ms. Yeller. Are you good? You're good. Okay. All right, and we need a second.
Second.
Okay, discussion. I feel like we probably should get a chair, right, if we're going to move forward with this.
Why don't we vote on it, and then if people are interested, they can contact me, and then I'll put it together.
That sounds great.
Okay, any further discussion about it? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Walker.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Callahan, FinCom update.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Hall. We met last Thursday. It was Member Boger's first official.
I forgot to bring donuts.
Official meeting.
Next time.
That's fine. I wasn't there.
Donuts. Ms. Hall was touring Broadway museums. We talked about Whittier, shocking, for a while, and I kind of went over the fundraising subcommittee that we're going to talk about in a minute with Andy, and we talked about the budget process and what Ms. Walker just referred to about having the joint city council budget and finance and our thing again, which I thought that worked out really well last year. So I reached out to Councilors Zeed, Kahn, and Harmon today to try and sort out a good time, and it's going to be March something.
Would it be our regular meeting date or a different one?
No, it'd be FinCom's meeting. Oh, right, the FinCom meeting?
Yes.
Probably, but I asked...
That's what we did last year, but...
Right. Representative Shand has a conflict on what that day would be, so somewhere around there in March. So when I know more, I will tell everybody about it.
Great.
And that's really what I have.
All right, thank you. Ms. Walker, policy.
Our next meeting is the 22nd.
Okay.
Nothing to report.
Next week. But we'll be doing some policy work at our next meeting then?
Pending approval of my new members, yes.
Yes. Got it. Okay. And fundraising. Back to you, Mr. Callahan.
We meet next Monday. It'll be the NEF presenting. I imagine it'll be a very quick meeting because the NEF is probably the most transparent fundraising organization in the city. And then the next one will be the athletic director, and that will be the 12th of February.
And remind me, will you be wrapping up after that?
Yeah, Ms. Walker and I will probably put a report together just like we did the transportation, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, sounds good. Back over to you, Ms. Walker.
So, I just do want to clarify, Two things. One, CISL is not a subcommittee of the school committee. I feel like a broken record, but
But you did request that it go on here for updates, right?
Yes, exactly. So I just want to clarify, people understand it's and it also stands for Curriculum, Instruction, and Student Life. And I can repeat that if people need to write it down. So it is actually a committee that advises the superintendent, and Lisa Marie Bolito is our chair, technically, and does a great job putting together the agendas and organizing it. We have representation of both staff from all the schools, school committee, myself, and then community members as well. So our last meeting, we reviewed. We had a presentation from the advisory and counseling staff. So the guidance counselors, the high school guidance counselor, and then Aaron Smith did a co-presentation, which I thought was great because it really demonstrates now how we're kind of pulling our different elements of counseling and how we connect the students really into one team. And I thought it was really nice to see that unified presentation of both what we are doing for mental health and assistance to students in that regard, but also helping with career development and things like that, and thinking about college and all the supports that we're providing through our additional aides and counseling staff. So hopefully we'll have a little mini presentation of that at a future meeting, because I thought it was really helpful. And we were there the same night as Whittier. An interesting combination of, the different passions in the district. But yeah, so that's about all I had. I didn't know. Did I miss anything that you wanted to share? Awesome. Okay.
Thank you. It's time for superintendent's report.
All right, we'll go quick here. So the first agenda item was our retreat, that we were all there. I thought it was a great day on a Saturday. Mayor got there early, welcomed everyone along with Ms. Hall. We had a nice presentation by our attorney, Michelle McNulty, roles and responsibilities tied to the law. And then we had a nice lunch, and I thought the afternoon was really great with Dr. Tony Bent. Actually worked with the school committee myself in establishing positive working relationships and how our roles kind of work together. And then at the end, Ms. Hall, you got to update SMART goals for the school committee. But what I thought was really great coming out of that is the ongoing professional development that we all felt like would be beneficial for school committee and ourselves to continue to work as leaders of the school system. So I thought it was a great day. That's my little summary. I'm not sure if you all need to add to that, but I think it was great for us to take a moment out and to kind of work together and reflect on a lot of the work we're doing. So I really appreciate the day and the organization and people that helped us out. So
I would, if you have a second, I would just say I appreciated that you guys put that together. I thought it was really nice to have a facilitated discussion, and I just thought it was a very productive day, and I really appreciate the effort that went into it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you have a couple other items on
two,
there,
two
yes?
more, and then so as you student rep takes all my thunder, so I won't go through the interactive playground panels. But Miss Doogie, who's back there, also union representative, being here tonight, but also should get a lot of credit and accolades. It was her idea, being at recess, recognizing the need for the interactive playground, so to be more inclusive during recess time. And so she worked with the NEF. The NEF sponsored the project, and also want to credit Steve Burkholm and his crew for getting getting that up. So that was installed, I think it was January 8th, before the deep freeze, right? So I just think that's, credit to our faculty and support staff, always thinking of ways to be inclusive and to reach out to all students. So that was a great team effort, and it's up there. I think we also put a picture in the of what it looks like in the packet. So that was great. Our professional development day, we reached out to school committee members that could make it. I know it was like last minute type of thing, but we had this idea in working with the high school and NEAS to really, the portrait of a graduate, we talk about it, it's a strategic plan, it's a driving force, to really open up the day with students, juniors and seniors, who had the opportunity to talk about the portrait of a graduate, talk about the traits, and to talk about their experiences throughout the Newburyport Public Schools and where they're at. And I saw it twice because they had to rehearse, so I cried the first time. So powerful.
I was just going to use that word. It was awesome.
And then
was it recorded?
I don't think we recorded it.
Bad because it was.
We did record it.
We did.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
You have Gallagher on tape crying?
No, I was hiding. So.
A little close up.
Yeah.
He's focused on the kids pretending.
And
it was really impressive. I would love for you all to see it.
Yeah, I heard
We're
good
going to
things.
edit it, and then post it. We have a few more things the students are going to do, but that'll all come together.
Oh, terrific. So it'll be posted on the district website? Okay.
Yeah. It was very powerful. What was great about that is all of the things we talk about, strategic planning, portrait of a graduate, you could see it in many ways of the different students that was up there. And I think as an educator, you could relate to some of their struggles and positive things as a student, and you could relate it as a teacher, as an administrator. But most of all, as you're hearing these wonderful stories, you could relate it. I related a lot of it as a parent. And it was great. So that really kicked off the entire day. And I think it really grounded all of us, really motivated everybody of why we're here. And then I included all the work and all the different presentations and workshops. Ms. Ippolito pulled all that together. And then it was just a great day. And then I had an opportunity to kind of go over the budget with the faculty and support staff right after lunch, which I'm sure they enjoyed. But no, we received a lot of positive feedback on that also. And then the afternoon, professional development, the IAs worked with Michael Eatman, and then our staff continued some of the PLCs and the building work. So overall, it was a very positive day. We received a lot of positive feedback on that, and it was great. And I think that's all I have. We'll end on that note.
Okay.
So.
Great. Do we have any new business? Okay, then we will, instead of adjourning, I will move that we are going to enter executive session for the purpose of discussing possible contract negotiations and/or legal matters, and we will not reconvene in open session.
Do I need a second? Second?
Thank you. And roll call, please.
Mayor Rinn?
Yes.
Sarah Hall?
Yes.
Andrew Bogler?
Yes.
Brian Callahan?
Yes.
Brianna Higgins?
Yes.
Kathleen Shore is absent. Julia Walker?
Yes.